Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Bodie, in case you have forgotten, because I don't post very often anymore. Life is very different for me now, and but you know, for some of those longtime subscribers that are hanging in there, Rocky, I know you're one of them. But anyways, um, I'm glad you've hung around. This video, I figured I would tell you about my Jeep. All right, and if you follow the channel, you know that I've had multiple vehicles trying to find the right vehicle for our ranch. And turns out there's not one right vehicle. We need many, especially whenever you consider who I am and that I like vehicles of all sorts. So the newest flavor is a Jeep YJ. All right, so long story short, my four-wheeler, I had an old Honda Rancher with the electric shift, and anyways, the shifting started messing up with that. That thing was such a good four-wheeler. I got it from my dad. It just simply always started. Oh my gosh, I just let it sit in the rain, and sometimes it'd be 4 months before I started it. I'd go out and boom. Honda can be boring. I used to be a Honda guy through and through. But now I kind of see it the way it is, and what they are is they're extremely reliable. And that's great and all, but anyways, this ain't a story about Hondas. This is about why I have a Jeep. So I was having some problems with that four-wheeler, and I figured, you know what? I need to sell it while I can still get something out of it, because whenever it comes to actually fixing it, it has that horizontal parallel. It's got that parallel crankshaft motor, and they're just a pain in the butt to work on, to get out of the chassis and stuff. And I didn't want to mess with that, so I sold it while it still had it was still worth a little bit of money. Put a little bit more money with it, and I was really considering a side-by-side. So I thought, well, let's check them out. For one, right now, because of the pandemic, COVID, man, that crap has caused a lot of problems that were not foreseen by anyone, such as toilet paper shortages, and everybody getting a bidet on their toilet. Who would have thought that was going to happen? I don't think anybody. But anyways, so due to COVID, a lot of people are seeing the value in being able to get outside and play. So things like four-wheelers and side-by-sides are definitely hot ticket items, especially the side-by-side, because most people, I'm sorry, most people suck. They can't even drive a manual transmission. Sorry, if you can't drive a manual transmission, I'm going to tell you this right now, you're not a good person. All right? Figure it out. Find a way to go out and learn how to drive a manual transmission, even if it's just simply getting a motorcycle, because same thing, it's a manual transmission. So anyways, but that's another story. The side-by-sides, my God, they're so expensive. I mean, even to get a janky, crappy one from like Tractor Supply or Dick's Sporting Goods, or I don't know if Dick's Sporting Goods has them, but Academy Outdoors, or I think that's what that's called. But you know, there's a lot of places that have them, and they're crappy ones. I'm not even talking about the Hondas, the Yamahas, the Kawasaki Mule. You know, even to get a cheap knockoff Lin-Hai, you're still looking at like $5,000-$6,000. I'm like, what? It just blows my mind. And to get the one that I was wanting, it's a toss-up between the Honda 700, I think is what it was. I can't remember what the Pioneer 700, I think is what I was looking at. That was like $10,000, like base price. It was probably going to be $13,000 by the time I got it. And then the other one was the Yamaha Wolverine, and these are not top of the line side by sides. The Yamaha Wolverine, I feel like it was going to be like $14,000 or $15,000 by the time taxes and crap like that. And I just dumbfounded by it, because I mean, I know a lot of people that have these things, and this is going to be really offensive, but most of them are broke ass, just, sorry, dude, trashy. You know, you choose to live trashy, and you live in squalor, but you drive a $15,000 or $20,000 side by side. I guess, you know, I mean, if you're happy, go for it, dude. But I don't know. I would choose a retirement fund. You know, get your finances in order, man, before you go in debt, paying whatever you're paying a month for a freaking $15,000 to $20,000 toy. Anyways, farmers too. Farmers, I mean, I know farmers don't make no money. I mean, you make a little bit, sure, but you know, make enough. But why are you getting that side by side? What will it do that a Jeep won't? So here we are. There's the question. I started thinking about it, and I would prefer to have a side by side for this ranch. I feel like they are more capable as far as getting around on rough terrain than a basically stock Jeep would be. But, you know, there are other things where this will beat a side-by-side. One, I can street legal this shit and drive it wherever I want to. Turns out it's really fun. Jeeps are fun vehicles. So I drive this thing and have some fun with it. It's not in the best shape, that's for sure, but you know, I drive it on short little trips around my place, and it's good. Can't really do that with a side-by-side. I mean, yeah, there are certain things you can do, but here in Georgia, you can't make it street legal. You can't just drive it into Atlanta, right? Cops will be on you. So out in the country, I get it. You put the little triangle on the back of it, and this thing's got the triangle on the back of it for right now because I don't have it registered. You know, it's a slow-moving farm vehicle, right? And you can do that with a side-by-side too. But for about $12,000 less than what it was going to cost me to buy a side-by-side, I got this. It's a 1988 YJ. It is carbureted, but it's not the 4.2. It's the 4.0 engine. It's weird. I don't know why they did that. It's a hodgepodge. Somebody was like, oh yeah, this is a really good body. It's like, there's no rust on it. No rust. Which makes me feel a little bit weird. I guess it does have it around the windshield right there, that frame. But you can buy a new frame for $120 or $190. There's no rust in the floorboards. It's a good shell. So they took this good shell, which was originally a 4-cylinder, I believe, and they shoved this 6-cylinder in it, and they wanted to keep it carbureted. So I think that what they did was they put the 4.2 cylinder head on the 4.0 motor. So it's a little weird, a little janky there. And it's got little problems like that throughout. But I can tow more with this than I can with probably any side-by-side, because even if a side-by-side has more power than this, which a lot of them do, right, they don't have the weight. So yeah, it'll tow, and that brings me to what I plan on doing with it. Well, mostly, you know, just getting to the little places where a tree falls, and I've got to cut it up. I got to get back there. You know, the 4-wheeler, it's hard to put 2 or 3 chainsaws on there, an axe, the gas, the tools, all that stuff. But in this, I can just throw it right in the back and then drive over there and cut up that tree. I can even use it to, if it's a real tight spot and I can't get my big truck, then I can use it to haul a little bit at a time, wood in the back of it and stuff. So can't really do that with a four-wheeler. I could do that with a side-by-side, but again, it's like $10,000 or $12,000 that I have saved on this. Now, a buddy of mine, I was talking with him about it a little bit, and I was like, I guess I'm just broke ass, and he smiled and goes, yeah, and it's funny. He's playing and everything, but here's the deal. I live my life in a certain manner, and it makes a lot of people think that I'm really wealthy, but what it is actually is I don't have any debt. So I mean, yeah, I got a credit card that every now and then, whenever something big comes up, I put it on there. But whenever that happens, like the sawmill right behind me, right, I'll put that on the credit card, right? But whenever that happened, I went into this pay it off now mode, which means I take jobs, I sell stuff, whatever I've got to do, I start hustling to get that debt removed. And I paid it off quickly. And so whenever I say I have no debt, I have no car debt and I have no house debt. And which that's probably a little bit more than my wife wants me to share. I have no college debt. I have no land debt. We own everything outright. And so, yeah, I could go and get a loan for a $20,000 side-by-side. But the way I look at it is, no, I don't want to take on debt. And if more people looked at things like that, then I think that our country as a whole would be in much better shape than we're in. The debt ratio of income to debt ratio in this country is ridiculous. I mean, I think the average household has like $25,000 of credit card debt. And that never goes away. That it just doesn't go anywhere because they never pay it off and then stop. If they pay it off, they immediately take on more debt. And that's when you get to a point to where you have to work for the man. You're not working because you choose to work. You're working because you have to work. And anyways, whatever. I didn't want this video to become this story of how to take care of your financial situation, but the side-by-sides are flashy, they're cool, they're useful. I want one, but I'm smart enough to go, I ain't taking on that kind of debt. I ain't gonna pay that kind of money. Now, if you're making $250,000 a year and you're having fun and you're enjoying this, you go for it, dude. Go on, rock that shit. I ain't saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that do it and shouldn't, and that's why they get in trouble. And heck, man, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that, like with Jeeps. I know people love Jeeps, man. There's a movement, man. People freaking love Jeeps. I remember I went to Caffeine and Octane about a year ago, something like that, and turns out it was a Jeep edition, basically, which I like a Jeep, and I like to see this Jeep that's got crazy travel in its suspension, and it's up there, it's showing how it can flex. That's cool, but you go to Caffeine and Octane, I'm expecting to see so many different cars. Well, and I saw a lot, but there's only so many Jeeps that you can see because there were like 600 Jeeps, but I saw this one, the new Jeep Gladiator, which, side note, I can't stand. Why does everything have to be a 4-door? That's not a real truck. The reason is because soccer moms and soccer dads. And that's fine. I don't want to take away their happiness and joy. They deserve to be able to go out into the outdoors and put the kids in the back seat or whatever. But why couldn't they have just come out with a 2-door version that had a bigger bed? Jesus, that would have been so nice to have an actual real Jeep truck. Come on. Anyways, so one of those was brand new. They hadn't been out. I mean, like, they weren't at dealerships at all yet. And if they were asking a ridiculous price. They're like $65,000 for this Jeep truck, right? Some guy had already gotten one, stripped everything off of it, and had at least $20,000 worth of suspension upgrades, winch and all that stuff done to it already. So to get that Jeep, he probably had to bid against somebody else. And so he paid $65,000, $70,000 for it probably, and then added on top of that another $20,000 worth of off-road goodies. And that's the kind of stuff that I just go, I don't understand that. And I think the reason I don't understand that is because I've never been wealthy. I've always had to work hard for everything that I got. And I mean, some wealthy people do as well. Not, you know, yeah, I don't want to take away from that. But yeah. Anyways, that's why I got a $3,500 Jeep. Because it'll do what a side-by-side can do almost completely. And it was really cheap. And we're having fun in it. Ain't that right, Louie Dog? You like the Jeep? What about you, Pippa? Yes. Anyways, that's enough on this. Next up, I'll tell you about my four-wheeler.